You know,
You're like, you wanna walk around in free shoes and God, people should people that are just like. I got some questions. Really kind of cool. Can't hear the name. We have the name plates for everyone. Linda, you are amazing. Well, I felt bad. I was taking a last time.
big loss in town yesterday, huh? Sunday.
Oh, it's sad,
Yeah.
very sad, sad.
Yes, it's like.
That's what I had. I just wanted to verify for,
I was for I'm thinking in a minute, this is like, what, Ron, did you get your name on it? And there's like, no, I need it. Yeah,
Yes, you do. Might forget me one.
yeah, we don't want you to forget.
Everybody knows Ron.
Yeah.
We met.
Stick around, who knows what you have that. Yeah. Yeah, that is definitely.
oh, this is gonna approve. It's just crazy. Oh, there's Sarah. Yay.
Really cool, everything.
Gonna have to go through the whole MPO.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's encumbrance.
I should have been more specific.
Dave's a big
I made the wrong decision to paint my bedroom. I think it me like 2 weeks before.
Very nice.
My whole bathroom's topsy-turvy. Like this same reason.
How are you?
Good.
Everybody's on.
Over here?
Huh? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Now, oh, you only know what you did.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm pretty much done. Pretty much. But anyway, it's not where I go around night. Really nice.
You good?
Almost.
Okay. We had a moment of silence, so thought we'd jump in.
I know. All right.
All right.
Anyone sneak in? I saw Barbara already, my usual sneak, so I am good.
That's right.
Great, I'd like to call to order the January 27th meeting of the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission to take action on minutes, the motions, and then Sylvia will follow up with roll call. So move.
Second. That was Errol and Linda.
Thank you. Sylvia, take it away.
All right, from Auburn, Bill Jean, our chair.
Present and yes.
From Bedford, we have Ed Kaminsky,
Present, yes.
and I keep adding an N to your name, I'm so sorry. Also Mark Snyder.
Present, yes.
Online, we have John Nelson.
Present, abstain.
Thanks, John, and Nadar Ali.
Yep. Yeah, Nadir here. Present, yes.
That's Nadir. Let's see, from Candia, we have Ron Lavender.
Present, yes.
Thanks, Ron. From Chester Online, we have Deb Munson.
Here and yes.
Alrighty, Deerfield, we have Errol Rhodes in house.
Here and yes.
Thank you, Errol. From Derry, we have Richard Tripp.
Here and yes.
Thank you. And online, Jeff Moulton.
Here and yes.
Beautiful, thank you. Let's see, from Francistown, we are so happy to see our Linda Kuhnhart.
President, yes.
Thank you. Goffstown, we have Barbara Griffin.
Present and yes.
Thank you, Barbara. And online, Jacob LaFontaine. Where did Jacob go? I know I saw him earlier. It's not here. No, all right, sorry. He was at the executive committee, so I'm just gonna put a question mark there. No one from the town from Hooksett. Online from Londonderry, we have Art Rugg.
I am here virtually and yes on the minutes.
Thanks, Art. We have Brian Battaglia.
Here and yes.
Great. Just a few minutes. Deb Levens.
Yes.
Hey, and your microphone works today, Deb. Excellent. Manchester, in-house, we have Peter Capano
Here and yes.
and Ray Clement.
Here and yes.
And Kevin Shepherd is missing the pizza. He's online.
Here and yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
And New Boston, we have no one. Ellen was not feeling well, no one from where. And from Wyndham, we have in-house Ed LaPointe
Here and yes.
and Peter Griffin
Here and yes.
and online DJ Withy.
Here and yes.
Did I miss anyone from the communities? Okay, that's great. Let's see, we have from MTA in-house today, Mike Whitten.
Here and yes.
And let's see, oh, we also have from DOT Denise Sherburne.
Here and abstain.
Thank you so much, Denise. And just a shout out to our friends from Stratford Regional Planning. We have Colin.
Morning, everyone.
And morning, and I thought I saw one more person sneak in from a commission. No, I guess not. But also I see Kristen Farr from the town of Londonderry. Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Kristen. And the rest of us are all from the commission.
Jack Wade.
Oh, thank you, Jack. I knew I saw someone. Jack Wade from DES.
Last but not least, good morning all.
Absolutely not least. Okay, great. I think that about does it.
Awesome. All set. We'll jump right into new business, consideration of the fiscal year 2025 TIP amendment number 3. We are looking to take action on that today, and Dave Tillotson is
Yep.
going to bring us up to speed on this.
So thank you very much. We do have a presentation prepared, which I can go through. We went through all the project changes for TIP Amendment 3 at the MPO last month. There's been no project changes since that time. There's no public comments that we need to address. So it's up to the will of the people here. Do we want to go to the presentation again? Or do we want to take a motion to adopt TIP Amendment number 3?
Anyone feel the need to review the TIP?
Oh, thank you.
No.
Correct, is this the one we corrected the 3 years typo? Okay, so is the motion to approve as amended? Or just to approve?
We need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve,
So moved.
and it is at the amendment.
So approved.
Second.
So that's Linda made the motion and Ed LaPointe, seconded.
All in favor?
Seeing all raised hands there, great, thank you. All right, great, thank you.
Seeing none, motion carries. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Right. You're right back up.
Yep.
Consideration of proposed 2026 regional safety performance targets. Again, this is, our action today is to adopt this performance targets, and we have a presentation they will lead us through.
All right, can everyone see that in full screen at home?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. Great, well, today where Zach and I are going to be talking about the 2026 PM1 safety performance measures for SNHPC. At the conclusion of this presentation, we're asking the MPO to consider adoption of these measures. Let me see if I can hide this at first. All right, so when we're talking about safety measures, it falls under transportation performance management, which is a strategic approach that takes data such as performance measures and uses that to inform policymakers and decision makers about ways to invest in our transportation system, with the ultimate goal of having a safe and effective transportation system for all roadway users. So when we're talking about performance measures, these are the 5 performance measures that we have to report on. Safety, pavement, bridge, system performance congestion, freight, and congestion mitigation, air quality. Some, like safety, are done every year. They're revisited every year. Other ones, like pavement and bridge, are revisited every 4 years. And here within the PM1 performance measures, here are the 5 federally required safety measures that we are required to look at. Number and rate of fatalities, number and rate of serious injuries, and non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. And the way that this process works is the state DOT set forth their targets. They pass those down to the MPOs, and the MPOs have 3 options at that point. They can adopt the state's targets, they can come up with their own regional targets, or a combination of the first 2. For this year, SNHPC recommended adopting regional targets for the first 4 performance measures. So that would be the fatality and serious injury measurements, and adopting the state's targets for the non-motorized performance measure. And now we're going to go into some of the data that got us to here. But first, this is part of our Safe Streets for All action plan. We have made a public commitment to 0 fatalities by 2050 and halving our 2023 fatalities by 2035. We understand that this is a very aspirational and difficult goal to achieve, but this is something that we are committed to achieving through these various safety programs. And now Zach will go into the data.
Okay, so we looked at this last month. First measure is projected number number of fatalities. So we have the red there, that's the 5-year average, the number of fatalities we had, and then the X's are the targets. So you can see that we're going up and we're missing our targets pretty substantially. The state target would be 22.1. Ours is going to be 19.4. So we can make that 2050 mark. Next one. So then we have the fatality rate. So this is fatalities per 100 million VMT, or vehicle miles traveled. Again, the red is the targets. I'm sorry, the red is the actual measures, and then we have our targets there in X. You can see in 2022 we lowered our target because at that point we had been coming in less lower than the state as a whole. Since then, it seems to be creeping up there. State target would be 0.974. We're suggesting a state regional target of 0.78. So here we have the number of serious injuries. It's kind of flat a little bit. Again, you can see there, 2024, we really were on target. Again, the state target would be 111. We're doing 91.7.
Question,
Yes.
what's the advantage or the purpose of setting a different target than the state?
So the advantage, well, there's a number of reasons you could want to do that. For us, it's because we made a commitment with our SS4A program. And in there, you have to make a public commitment to, some kind of driving towards 0. And so we have to adopt our own regional targets to meet that.
And that is the target for the region, right?
Correct.
Not the entire state.
Yeah.
So just so I'm following, right? So there's no data or change in built environment or safety policies to suggest that that's attainable. It's just that's where the number needs to be so that we reach the goal at the end. We don't have any expectations of actually seeing the real numbers come in.
No.
Some of us assume that over time, the government will come to the conclusion that it's not possible. We can stop doing this program, but at the moment, the program has to be.
Okay, next slide, please. Then we have the serious injury rate. This again, much flatter than fatalities. You can see, but we're coming a little bit in over target. But again, in 2023, we were right on target. So the state's target would be 4.237. We're suggesting a target of 3.387. Next slide.
Question,
Yes.
what are the actual numbers?
What do you, I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Could we go back one?
Yep.
The state target is 4.237. Our target is 3.387. Do we have any numbers for what the actual serious injury rate was for 2025?
Not yet.
Oh, how about 24?
Yes, I'm trying to think now.
Right there.
Oh,
They're right on target.
right on target. Yeah.
3.8.
Yeah, but that's not the number. He's asking the
That's-
number of incidents.
Yeah, this is a rate.
Yes.
Vehicle mile.
We do know that information, so each one of those red dots on that graph are pulled from the data that he's asking about. So-
I remember seeing the actual numbers several months ago. And it did like in different charts and stuff, but.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, thank you.
And lastly, we have the number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries. This one bounces around a little bit because it's just more volatility. Presumed, so for this, if we were going to have our own target, it would have been that orange there, which is the 10.9. But for whatever reason, the state target happens to be lower. So we didn't want to adopt a rate that was higher than the state. So it's for this one, we're suggesting that we go with the state rate.
I just have a further question on the graph. I know if I was to look at this graph out, you would have 0 at 2050.
Yeah.
So have you just extrapolated over the course of the years between your last good number and 2050 to have a straight line going down?
It's
Is
not.
that what we're looking at essentially?
It's not it goes like this and then it flattens out. But yes, it's
But
essentially.
essentially, that's what you've done. Taken this number, I want to get here. This is how many years. So this
Yeah.
is where I am for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay. It validates what I think is going on, so I'm okay. I understand what they did.
Can I? I don't understand where we're going here. I mean, the actual rate is going to change if nothing else has changed, and so we're just going to get further and further away from the target.
Yes.
I don't.
Exactly, we don't understand, it's like, remember, it's that part where the people that run these programs, they don't really live in the real world, like they imagine perfection over here. And the only thing that scares me about it is eventually they're gonna see we're never gonna get there, and then either they'll come to their senses and stop trying to do this, or the hammer will come down and like, you won't, you must, it'll either become totally authoritarian or they'll come to their senses, but it's 20 years away, so we're okay.
You can see it coming.
You're right, it's gotta go one way or the other. In the meantime, here's where we are.
If I could just follow up on a presentation that was many years ago here in this room, probably when dirt was being made by a former DOT commissioner. And he stood in this room and said, we all want 0, but no, it will never happen, but we cannot say it. So all of these exercises are always going to shoot for 0. And that's just the reality of it. So to sort of forward to what Peter from Manchester said, what funding and programs, does doing this work allow communities in the region to advocate for and get? Because isn't that really why we're doing this, is so that we can satisfy federal and state requirements? So when we do applications, we can say, we've done this, check the box off, and now we can qualify, like I saw CMAC, grants. So when we do applications for our communities, where is this data going to be used?
And
we do use specific crash data for some things like road safety audits, when we're looking at, is an intersection or a section of roadway have a higher crash rate than another ones, and what would be the reason for that? Is there something that is it behavioral or is it design? For these specific, I'm trying to think of
There's a couple things at play.
Okay.
Jump in. Every MPO in the country has to set safety targets as just, you know, under federal regulations, we all have to set them. And we submit them to the Federal Highway Administration and they publish them on their Transportation Performance Management website. So it is kind of a threshold. We have to do that to be in compliance in general with the federal aid program. Beyond that, one of the reasons why we set these aspirational targets is specific to a particular federal program called the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. When we did that program, there was a threshold that we needed to make a public commitment to get to a goal of 0 fatalities in the region. And we did that by saying, okay, well, our initial objective will be a 50% reduction by 2035 with a long-term goal of 0 by 2050. Making that public commitment makes our safety action plan valid for that program and opens up our municipalities to be able to apply for that particular funding source. So because we made that public commitment to get to the long-term goal of 0 with a 50% reduction by 2035, we are meeting our federal requirements of annual target setting by saying, what do we need? What would our target be to get us to a 50% reduction by 2035? And that's basically what you're seeing. And so we are more aggressive or aspirational, as you may, you know, whatever word you want to use, than the state in 4 of the 5 targets. This one on the screen is the one where the state happens to actually be more aggressive through their normal program, through their normal calculation process than even our, what does it take to get to 50% reduction by 2035 target. So that's why we would adopt the state's target for this one. That's a long answer to the short, but hopefully it helps.
Excuse me, could I make a comment?
Please.
So to me, yeah, what you just summarized, we're just pushing paper here. Decisions for example, on specific projects that are part of the 5 or 10-year plan. That's the data that should be driving these projections. And if we feel we're making wrong decisions on certain projects, for example, the rail trail on 4A, then we should be projecting in the near term a higher target and stop trying to pretend that we are doing things that are going to achieve the 0 target. And otherwise, I think you're just wasting people's time here.
Yeah, I mean, when we're doing project selection, safety is the highest weighted criterion. We look both forward and backward at what we call safety performance and safety measures. So what backward looking, what has been the crash rate and the number of crashes and the severity of crashes at a particular location, and forward looking at what would the proposed intervention be to improve that. And there is hard data through crash modification factors and research that happens specific to, you know, exit 4A. That's not an engineering decision that we had any say in about how they ultimately designed, you know, that particular crossing. So that's not something actually that went through our 10-year plan process at all. That was, you know, funding the exit 4A decision was a state level.
It is part of our region. And
it is part of our region, but it's not
a data
something,
point, and
it's not something that came through our 10-year plan process.
But I'm just throwing that out as an example. But you know, to me, we should be using real data. I don't understand this artificial targets, but we need to send the right message, right? That we're heading in the wrong direction.
The other thing to keep in mind here, and it has always been my kind of, you know, hang up with doing this, we have this federal requirement where we need to set targets. What do we as an MPO actually have control over? A very small fraction of programming federal funding for projects. For us, $10.56 million every 2 years. If we're even allowed to do that, which we did program this year, but none of it actually got programmed. So that's our, small piece of an overall safety puzzle. But in reality, a lot more than infrastructure affects these figures. We have a say in a little piece of infrastructure funding. There's a lot of behavioral factors that go into where these red dots end up on this chart. There is speeding, there's impairment, there's distraction, a variety of behavioral factors that we as an MPO have absolutely no control over. So we have to kind of view this target setting for what it is and what we can actually control, which is a small piece of its overall puzzle. So
Well,
there's a
what
lot
we
that goes
control-
into it that we
Yeah,
don't
I
have.
agree with you. We can't control everything, but we still should be setting expectations for what a realistic target is. That's, otherwise I don't know why we're doing this, other than to fill out paperwork.
Kind of had a different thought and, what by, if you go ahead and you look at that red dotted line, the dashed line, and you say, well, yeah, let's move the target up there to 14. 14 non-motorized fatalities. That's what's going to be expected. Now you can picture it here in Manchester. You can picture something in Bedford. You can picture anywhere. You could say that, but I'd rather see a lower target. I think we all would rather see lower numbers of fatalities or serious injuries. And I think by providing those lower numbers, we're saying, hey, we're not too thrilled with that dashed line. Let's do something. At least we have a target. At least we have a goal. And that way, maybe we can start asking our friends at DOT or our different communities, what can we do to change this outcome? Is there something else we can do that's not the status quo? So I personally think it's good to have, that safe routes for all report that we worked on with the other MPOs. I think at least it starts to head us in a direction where we can say, okay, here's our target. We're not accepting this dash line. We don't want to see 14 next year. We want to see 10. We don't want to see any, but let's keep going lower.
Why don't we do that? Set our target at 0.
Yeah.
Anything above 0 is
Yeah,
unacceptable.
because the authoritarian, society isn't ready,
And some MPOs do set it for 0.
What?
Some MPOs do that.
I think we should. I think we should say 0. Anything above 0 is intolerable. And if there's 1, if there's 2, let's figure out what happened. And then are they controllable, influenceable? If not, we understand that. But if we can, if there's something we can do to spend our 10 million, whatever it was, over 2 years, let's do that. But I think we should set it at 0. Make a statement.
I think it's a lot easier to just consider 0 as the ideal point to reach.
Yes.
And go, how far, because it very quickly allows you to know, how far am I missing the point?
Right.
Okay, instead of going, okay, what's the ratio?
Well,
Okay, it's I'm 14% off of the goal. Bam. That's it.
I think that, 0 is where everybody would like to see it. If we are a planning organization that's trying to map out a future course in regards to use of funds and planning in our community, that's simply not realistic because it doesn't meet, because intersections, we know we don't have the funding to change that may be contributing to this. We know we don't have that money next year. We know we do not have the money for even maintenance, which isn't under our jurisdiction in our local communities that would help to change some of this. So if we're a planning organization, and while the next step of this, examining the data to say what is the most likely place for a fatality to happen, and can we do something to that intersection, street clearing, whatever. Well, that's not part of this exercise. It at least provides the base. So if you're going to take the premise that the planning organization has some validity, you want to, I think, put it on a course. And I started this line of questioning going, I know this is sort of theoretical, whatever. If you want to maintain that planning mission, I don't think that setting it at 0 does anything other than we're gonna be 0.
Exactly.
No, let me say something.
Yeah.
I agree with some of what you said. But I do not see that setting at 0 is anathema to planning. I think planning is absolutely supportive of us trying to get down to 0. And as I said a few minutes ago, anything above 0 requires us to look at it. And we can say, there's nothing we can do about it because of some other causes. But I think it puts a light on the fact that we are planning to get to 0. What can we do? What can we influence in our budget, or how can we influence in others? I think there's nothing wrong with saying 0. And in fact, you're saying some other communities or other MPOs are doing it.
So, yes, and basically everybody is doing their own thing. Yeah, you get, you know.
The only difference I see between those two views is patience.
Yes.
And to the degree.
And that's not my forte, so I'm taking it.
I wasn't gonna go there, okay? But patience is this, and so what patience buys you is how realistic you're being. There are, as pointed out, there are lots of things that influence that 0 number. Do you want it next year, or do you want it in 2050? So, I guess the question really is, what's the benefit of showing patience and realism in your numbers as opposed to showing impatience and sort of non-realism on your figures?
I'm impatient. Let's set it for 0 for next year. And let's try and influence that.
I agree with my last one. One of the benefits of having patience and not going to 0 to say you won and be at 0 is that the conversation continues. When an ultimatum is made, conversation ceases, and the best result doesn't necessarily issue forward. So even though I am like big on, I hate paperwork, I hate feeling like my time is wasted. When I came, I can't remember how, I've been coming here too long, and I don't really know enough, except that because I've been coming here long, but I like to learn new things. I'm interested. I'm not stupid. I just focus on different things. I have learned that there is some paperwork that you may not see the advantage of wasting your time or having Dave waste it. And I don't feel Dave does not waste his time. He does a really hard job taking all this crap and turning it into something that's explainable, even though the reason we don't understand it is we don't understand why we have to do it, because it seems like such a waste of time. It's there for when we need it. It's there in a way that everybody is taught how to learn how to use it, so that when we do wish we had something, we can go back and say, look, we've been dealing with this for 25 years. What do you want us to do? If you really want us to fix it, we need this, and this. And the patience allows you to have conversation with all different people who have all different focuses, that all want to have 0 people get dead, but don't want to be told there's only one way to do it and we're going to do it now. We want to have all kinds of different things. And I think that the patience allows us to get the best solution eventually.
So
Which
if
is
there
why
are 10 people
I
get killed next year, we hit our target, we say, hooray, we hit our target, we're being patient. I think we should say, no, we don't like that. It's a strange thing to say, we hit a target of 10 and we met a target. Is that good? No, it's awful.
Well, we've heard, Mike, just let you jump in. We've heard two sides of that. We've said, let's set the real target as to what it's gonna be, what we know it's gonna be, and then we've heard it set to 0. I think we're taking a responsible measure to meet into our compliance, is we've set a 0 target at a date in the future that we're striving to achieve. So that's what this is about, and we'll talk about adopting it further, but I know Mike, you want to comment on something?
I get your point about, how realistic is there, but at the same time, these numbers aren't realistic either. These are just where the dots happen to fall on the line. I can at least see logic to saying, okay, we want to get to 0, let's just go and get there. I can also see logic to saying, all right, the state did an exercise to come up with their numbers, we're going to copy theirs. The only one I'm really struggling with is that we're not going to do either of those. We're just going to adopt random dots because that happened to be where they fell. I don't see how that's either useful or.
We have some online questions. Nadir?
Yeah, hi. I think my concern here is, I know we're trying to figure out this target and going back and forth about zero, and we all want to have zero fatalities. But my question is like the target for 2025 was 9.4. And if we really wanted to understand why we didn't even achieve that target based on the trend line that's here, we can then still look at that information regardless of even if we're at zero target today, right? We still aren't moving the needle regardless of where the target is, either at zero or the 10.5 or the 10.9. So my thing is that I think this conversation of getting it to zero, it's an aspirational one. We should get there anyway. But what are the mechanisms for us to go and review why we didn't even hit the 9.4, right? And or any of the other targets. So I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's where it should go in terms of like we adopt these targets, that's fine. But what is the action plan to lead us to understanding what it can be? And what I've heard is like you're never going to get to zero anyway. There's a lot of, human nature falls into it, intersections. So I feel that, unless there's mechanisms and things that we're doing to figure out why we didn't get even to last year's target of 9.4, it's a moot point if we put it at zero or we keep it at the proposed number here today. I think the real action should be after that. Okay, we hit these targets. What are the action plans to make sure that we hit these? And whatever projects we come up with, if these are the benchmarks that we're going to have be mandated through federal funding, at least we can look at these in the future and any other projects that come down. Like, are we trying to achieve anything lower in these targets in the future?
That is very well said.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, this is, the distinction is one between what is a public good and what is not a public good. I think if the target is anything higher than zero, people are gonna be concerned, who is that? Who's the person who's tagged?
Person's acceptable to be lost.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gotta be zero. But the question is exactly as Nadir said, what are the steps? And what I'm hearing from Nate is that, in fact, this is part of the process of getting the funding to take the steps that you need to do. And you're not gonna ever get satisfaction in zero. So whether you put it 50 years out or 5 years out or a year out, it's gonna be equally unattainable. The question is, how do we make money? How do we get the funding we need to take the steps that Nadir was talking about? And in that sense, it's simply a public good that we can't afford to put it any number other than zero.
One thing we can do is invite our friends from DOT who are on I think we had him here in about 6 months ago, but we can invite them and ask them what are the actions that DOT is proposing, what's underway to get us to zero. And I know one of the things that they were talking about was going to different high schools to talk with young people who maybe are driving while they're looking at their phone or whatever is happening, but to start early with early young drivers and to make the point. And so one thing we can do is all our communities, if you're interested, we could try to coordinate with them in getting to the high schools to have them do presentations on safe driving. And that's something we could do. That would be a sort of helping. It might be a feel-good thing, but at least we could say we've done something.
That's right.
I agree with that. That's a great start.
Hey, just for clarification purposes, on the adoption of this, what is in jeopardy if we don't have an adopted plan?
Well, I mean, we run the risk of corrective actions from the Federal Highway Administration, and that could be problematic on a number of fronts. We have an annual deadline, I believe, of February 27th to adopt targets each year. And so we always tend to introduce them in December and try to adopt them in January in case January's a snow, a blizzard, and we don't meet again until February. That's the absolute time. But yeah, it could become problematic for us in terms of corrective actions. That there is an expectation by the federal partner agencies that we as an MPO will set annual safety targets, as we have each year for a number of years now. what they're presenting here today, on that spectrum from realistic to aspirational, basically what you're seeing here is the most realistic aspirational target we think we can set.
Exactly.
Where, and so, if you want to go on one end of that spectrum or the other, that's certainly your prerogative as an MPO, but we do need to adopt something in advance of February 27th to be in federal compliance.
And any of the three options would put us in.
Yeah.
Setting them to
Yep.
zero, setting them as they are, or adopting
Correct.
as they.
Let me just say one last thing. I feel very strongly about the zero thing, and I'll tell you, it's a material number. It's something that is, it's got a real meaning in our world, right? You can understand what it means to get to it. Any other number is contrived. It's pulled out of the air. It's a statistical game plan to say we're gonna, some percentage less than it was last year. It's some extrapolation. It's pulled out of the air. It's not realistic. It's not meaningful, other than statistic game playing. So I think that we should set something that is a meaningful target that we can be proud of and say we aspire to zero. Can we get there? Perhaps not. But to say something other than that is a reasonable target is it's baloney.
I asked Dave to pull up what the targets are that.
Yeah, so this is our last of our summary slides here. So we have the safety measures on the left-hand side. Next to that, the first column are the state targets. Those are the targets that the state came up with and handed down to us. To the right of that is our SNHPC targets, and all the way to the far right is the action that we'd recommend taking. So this is just a comparison to show where our targets are compared to the states in the actions.
And just for clarification, we adopt statewide whole. So that's, 111. Wow. I only got half an hour of sleep last night. I apologize. The target there is for the whole state and not just our region.
The state target as compared, our target is regional, but.
Well, we are adopting a regional statewide project.
I got it. I
Yeah.
know, I got it.
I got it.
Because the state doesn't break down the target fund. So we take their state target, apply it to the region and then develop our.
Yep.
Based on the 2050 too far away zero aspiration.
I make a motion to approve the safety measures as proposed.
I would second.
That
Was
was
second.
Linda and Ed.
All right. With a motion and a second, we will call for a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, we're gonna have to raise the plan.
Yeah, sorry, let me get this off here real quick.
And let's see,
Stop share. Way to go. There it goes. Thank you.
Right. So we're, okay, so how many?
We have.
We have
All
a
people that are
few.
not on camera.
All right,
You probably are just two of them.
and then
Want to do a roll call?
roll call, okay,
Just to
we're
make sure you-
doing a roll call. All right, so the motion is to adopt as proposed, Bill Jean.
Yes.
Ed Kaminsky,
Yes.
Mark Snyder,
No.
John Nelson,
Yes.
Nadir Ali,
Yes.
Ron Lavender.
Here. I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yes, yes,
Yay, yeah.
yay, Deb Munson,
Yes. Voting present.
Errol Rhodes,
Yes.
Eventually.
Jeff Moulton,
No.
John, oh no, John. Richard Tripp,
There's a delay
Yes.
on the fake out.
Linda Coonhart,
Yes.
So there's like a
Barbara Griffin,
Yes.
So
Jacob
we see
LaFontaine,
where they occur.
Yes.
and- Sense.
Arthur Rudd,
Yes.
Brian Battaglia,
No.
Deb Levens, Did I see a yes on Deb?
Yes.
Thank you. Kevin Shepherd,
Yes.
Peter Capano,
Yes.
Ray Clement,
Yes.
DJ Withy,
Yes.
Ed Lapointe,
Yes.
Peter Griffin,
Yes.
Mike Whitten,
No.
and Denise from DOT. We still have Denise? Looks like she,
Looks like she dropped off.
No, she's.
Denise, thoughts on this vote? Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
okay, thank you. We have a yes from. All right.
Yeah, sounds like it passes.
I still think that your idea is really good one of getting the state DOT people to come in and talk to us about this now.
Well, if you like that idea, let's work with your high school reps and I can be a point person and I'll work with staff as well and we'll get our folks, our friends from DOT involved.
I think he meant for the meeting.
Yeah, no, I
Oh.
meant meeting with us to talk with us about
How we can stop it.
why this replace statistical baloney with these numbers. I'd like to hear from them directly, why they're not willing to set everything to zero.
Okay,
They're not
that's a
stopping us
different
from
conversation.
No, we're not, but they're doing it. They're contributing to that problem.
Are we done with the vote?
We're done with the
That was
vote.
fun.
And we do have other things on the agenda.
Yeah. You need no further action from us on that. It's adopted.
What was it?
Thank you, Dan, for.
Executive order.
So next up is consideration of proposed 2026 regional safety. Oh, we just did that, I'm sorry. Other business. We went through that.
We can do, should we do the awning later under SNHPC business? I think so.
Right, that's.
Yeah.
MPO. Any other business that needs to come before MPO?
No,
Seeing none, we'll for a motion to adjourn the MPO. So
Yes.
Peter, a second.
who was the first and second?
Peter.
Peter and I first. did it,
Second,
and
Errol.
Made the motion.
There we go.
There's no such thing.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned. Like to call to order the meeting, the January 27th meeting in Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. We need to take some action on the minutes, so look for motion there and then subsequent roll call. Motion to approve.
Second.
Barbara. Who was second? All right, so
Paul, all right, we're gonna go quick on this. We have a great presentation. I want to give her time. Bill
present, yes.
from Bedford, Ed,
Yes.
Mark,
Right, yeah.
John,
Present abstain.
Nadir,
Present, yes.
Candia, Ron,
Present, yes.
Chester, Deb,
Here, yes.
Deerfield, Errol,
President, yes.
Derry, Jeff,
Here and yes.
and Richard,
Here, yes.
Francistown, Linda,
Here, yes.
Goffstown, Barbara,
Yes.
Jacob.
Sorry, here and yes.
Thank you. Londonderry, Art,
Here and yes.
Brian,
Here and yes.
Deb. Yeah, it's always squeaky, but yes. Manchester, Kevin,
Here and yes.
Peter,
Here, yes.
Raymond,
Here and yes.
Wyndham, DJ,
Here and yes.
Ed,
Here, yes.
and Peter.
Here and yes.
All right, and we still have our friend Mike Whitten. And we have Jack Wade and Colin, I believe, still. So
Great. On to the next item of new business. We have a guest presentation, a special guest presentation from Sarah Reitzman from the Hampshire Housing Finance Authority. Pleased to introduce Sarah. She's going to be presenting on housing, facts, and fiction. Sarah's got a pretty storied history in the planning and housing world and should be able to shed a lot of light on this topic. I've been in her presence many times on her engagements, so looking forward to what you have to say, Sarah, and present today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. I am happy to be here. I wish I was there in person. I heard you had great pizza, the Stowe. Kind of threw off my schedule for the whole week. So I am going to share my screen. I am sort of, let me see.
I
Yes.
gave you the allowance, yeah.
Good, perfect. It looks weird on my end, but I'm assuming it looks great on your end.
It looks great.
Good. So I'm going to talk specifically about our housing factor fiction project, but also manufactured housing, because that's what our last two episodes of this video series were on. So, and as you might know, we'll get into it. There's a piece of legislation related to housing, manufactured housing this session. So I'm going to start with manufactured housing. I put a lot of information on these slides, mostly because I hoped that you would be able to have it as a resource in the future. I'm probably not going to read everything that's on these slides because I think it would take too long, but I wanted to make sure that this was chock full of stuff that you can reference later, so you'll have access to my slides. There we go. So I wanted to include a little bit of the sort of history of mobile homes, manufactured housing, and where the stigma came from. So, and we talk about this in the first video. So mobile homes, trailer parks, whatever you're calling them, they were originally places where people vacationed in like recreational house trailers. So like similar to modern day campgrounds, and people started living in them permanently year round during the Great Depression. After World War II, mobile homes became a more permanent housing solution, but there was no or really poor quality standards. There was limited aesthetic appeal. So like that's where a lot of like this stigma comes from. And it wasn't until 1976 when the United States passed the Manufactured Home Construction and Safety Standards. Nobody calls it that. Everybody just calls it the HUD code. So manufactured housing today is built to a national standard, unlike other housing types which are built to sort of the local building code. So it's a set of federal standards that regulates the design and the construction, ensuring quality, safety, durability. As you probably know, manufactured housing is constructed in a controlled factory environment, so it removes like the weather-related risks and issues and adds sort of economies of scale. So we know that like weather-related and the short period in New Hampshire that you can actually do construction definitely adds some cost and less certainty for New Hampshire home builders. And the waste generated when constructing a manufactured home can fit in a single trash can. So that's one of my favorite fun facts about manufactured housing. In New Hampshire, you probably all know that we have a manufactured housing law. It requires all municipalities have reasonable and realistic opportunities for the siting of manufactured housing. And a municipality can't exclude manufactured housing completely in the zoning from a municipality. It also gives some definition of manufactured housing. So it's built on a permanent chassis. It's designed to be used as a dwelling with or without a permanent foundation. It is required that it's connected to utilities, which include plumbing, heating, electrical heat systems. And in New Hampshire specifically, and this sort of puts us ahead of where the rest of the country is in some ways, manufactured housing is considered real estate. It's not personal property, so it's not the same as like owning an RV. That means that it's taxed the same as other homes in a community. It also means that it appreciates the way that single family homes do in New Hampshire. It doesn't depreciate like your car. And in some instances, traditional mortgage products are available to home buyers. That's pretty unique to New Hampshire. We sort of paved the way for a lot of that stuff. But manufactured housing isn't allowed everywhere, as probably many of you know. I pulled this data from the New Hampshire Zoning Atlas to give you an idea. Manufactured housing is allowed on individual lots in 48% of the buildable land in the state, which is pretty good. Manufactured housing in parks is only allowed on 6% of buildable land, and it's prohibited on 14% of the buildable land in New Hampshire. Again, I got that from the New Hampshire Zoning Atlas. So if you wanted to get more in depth about your region specifically. And there is a bill this year, HB 1357, which would allow newly constructed manufactured homes in all residentially zoned areas by right. So in other words, it basically treats manufactured housing the same as single family housing in your zoning. Interestingly, just pure coincidence, when I was looking at this, I noticed that almost every single one of the sponsors of this bill is in your region. I think everyone except Bryce, who represents Hudson, all of the rest of them at least touch your region. So that's kind of fun. You could actually talk to your legislators about this bill specifically, and they're right there. There was a public hearing last week at the House Housing Committee, but it was recessed. So I'm not sure when they're going to take it up again, but the committee did not discuss it last week. And so what we wanted to do in our housing factor fiction video series was specifically address some of like the most common misperceptions or myths that we hear. And these are the ones that we tackled in this, and something that was still things that we hear a lot, which is we don't call them mobile homes anymore. We call them manufactured housing because mobile homes aren't actually mobile. Once they're installed, they're difficult and expensive to move again. So it's very rarely, if like never done. One of the other things that I hear a lot about manufactured housing is that it's not energy efficient, and so your utility bills are going to be higher than in a single family home. The advances in quality, so that's like pre-1976 homes are actually very energy efficient, maybe even more so than some of our single family homes. So it's part of the EPA's Energy Star Manufactured New Homes program, and it's moving toward this zero energy ready home certification. I can't answer any follow-up questions about energy efficiency, but I got this from the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund. It's their area of expertise. And like I said before, manufactured homes appreciate in value similar to site-built homes, so they don't depreciate like our cars do. And I know that one of the concerns about manufactured housing, and John Oliver last week tonight did an episode on this about investors buying up parks and increasing rents, which we know is a risk with manufactured homes in parks. It's a risk with apartment buildings too, right? That an investor could build or purchase it and change the rent. So in New Hampshire, we have resident-owned communities, ROCs, that allow residents to cooperatively own the land underneath their homes. We have over 150 parks in New Hampshire specifically. The idea of a ROC, the resident-owned communities, started in New Hampshire. So the number of ROCs nationwide is a little bit higher than the number of ROCs in New Hampshire, but it's about the same. For a while, there were more ROCs, for decades, there were more ROCs in New Hampshire than there were in the rest of the country, which I think is very cool. It started here. And there was a law established in New Hampshire in 1983 that required park owners to notify residents when the park is being sold and negotiate in good faith with residents if they wish to purchase the park. So that's a very cool thing. And I know a lot of the communities in your region have a lot of ROCs and have been through that process. So I included some data again, like I don't have to read everything. Manufactured housing is about 5% of the state's total housing stock. The median monthly cost is $866 compared with median monthly rent $1,423. We tried to give you a like an apples to apples comparison, that median monthly cost, and that comes from ACS. Doing median sale price is a little bit more complicated, right? So the median sale price for mobile homes was $169. That's compared to the median sale price of single family homes of $525. That doesn't feel as much like an apples to apples comparison because in some cases, when you own a manufactured home, you're not owning the land that comes with it, whereas with a single family home you are. And that single family home of $525 doesn't include, say, like condos, which would be a closer like apples to apples comparison, but I still think that that's worthwhile data to have because of how stark that difference is. For a lot of people, a manufactured home is going to be the only thing that is in their price range. Median loan amount for manufactured homes in 2024 was $145,000. So again, huge difference in terms of like what's accessible to people given their buying power. And the median gross annual income for a manufactured home loan borrower in 2024 was $79,000, which surprised me. That was higher than I would have thought that it was. So the reason Sylvia asked me to be here. So Housing Factor Fiction is a series of videos that New Hampshire Housing has done along with producer Jay Childs, JBC Communications. If you've seen either of the episodes of Communities and Consequences, the documentary that he did, this is kind of a spin-off of this. So Communities and Consequences are both really great documentaries, but they're also an hour long and have this sort of great sort of narrative storytelling. What we wanted to do was create sort of smaller, punchier videos that you all could use and deploy in really easy ways. So showing them at meetings like this or bringing them to your planning board, and they're, 3, 4, 5 minutes long compared with an hour-long documentary, making them a little bit more accessible. So the goal is addressing misperceptions specifically. So it really is framed as like, here's the fiction, here's what we hear, here's the facts. Episode 1 was about what is workforce housing. Episode 2 is more focused on the people, the who is workforce housing, and there's some great stories in there. Episode 3, really similarly, we did what is manufactured housing. Episode 4 is about who lives in manufactured housing. These are pretty new. And I can show you, this is the Communities and Consequences website. So if you scroll over to videos, you can find all of the videos that we did. So this is who lives in workforce housing, what is workforce housing, what is manufactured housing, who lives in manufactured housing, and there's a goal to do more of these videos. We also have these 2 episodes that we did with New Hampshire PBS on working the housing problem that was pretty specific about like the economics of development and how various factors impact the cost of construction. So I think we have time. We don't necessarily have to watch both of them. Episode 3 is, I think, just under 5 minutes. Episode 4 is around 6 minutes. If you wanted to watch one of them today, maybe I will stop sharing my screen and then pull it back up and make sure that I'm sharing volume too, because I know that's a challenge.
Yeah, there's time.
And I will share sound. That's perfect.
Mr. Chairman, it makes sense to kill the lights.
Great.
Oh.
No popcorn, so sorry.
Each of them over popcorn.
No popcorn.
No popcorn.
I've lost all of you. I know you're still there, but I can't see any of you anymore. So if you all are ready, I'll do.
We are ready.
Episode 3. By now, most of us understand that New Hampshire's in the midst of a housing crisis. Finding an affordable rental is a daunting challenge, and the goal of home ownership feels so out of reach to so many residents. Enter manufactured housing and resident-owned communities. For many, this is a way to own your own home without breaking your finances. If you aren't familiar with today's manufactured housing, you may not know that there's a history of stigma attached to them dating back decades. In this episode, we're going to separate fact from fiction regarding manufactured housing and its evolution from mobile homes and trailer parks to a quality, affordable housing option. Where did the stigma come from? Originally, trailer parks were places where people and their families vacationed in their recreational house trailers, similar to modern-day campgrounds. It was during the Great Depression that poverty drove many folks to live in their trailers in order to survive. After World War II, mobile homes became a more permanent housing solution for many Americans. But as they grew in popularity and grew in size, they became less and less mobile. Today, mobile homes are only truly mobile once, from the manufacturer to the land where they are installed. They're difficult and extremely expensive to move again. Towing a line between a trailer and a home, the original mobile homes were often built to poor quality standards with limited aesthetic appeal, causing them to depreciate in value. These issues began to change after the passage of a law in 1976 known as the HUD Code. Sarah Marchant from the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund explains.
In 1976, the HUD Code was adopted. These standards regulate the design and construction of manufactured homes as we know them today. They were brought about to ensure the quality, safety, and durability of these homes and to bring that on par with traditionally constructed homes.
In the years that followed, the quality, durability, and appearance of these homes greatly improved, with a look and feel of a site-built home. In New Hampshire, the manufactured housing law took the next step in establishing manufactured homes as real estate and not property, such as a car. This law conferred many rights to owners that they previously did not enjoy. But today, many of the old perceptions persist, even though 7% of the housing in New Hampshire is manufactured housing. For many people and families, manufactured housing deserves a fresh look.
The fact is, manufactured homes are built with the same materials and quality construction as a site-built home, but they're built in a factory where you remove the environmental and weather considerations. You have regular quality control checking, and they're built with the economy of scale that allows you to reduce the cost of the homes. and they have far less waste than traditional construction. The average single-wide home can fit all its waste in a 60-gallon trash can at the end of the construction period.
These advances in quality have led to manufactured housing becoming far more energy efficient. Through programs such as EPA's Energy Star Manufactured New Homes program, moving toward the goal of Zero Energy Ready Homes certification. Once that certification is reached, these homes can save as much or more energy than traditionally built homes with comparable energy efficiency features. Another benefit of better quality is that according to the Federal Housing Finance Agency House Price Index, manufactured homes now appreciate in value similar to a site-built home. And if your idea of manufactured housing is still, well, this, then you need to visit one of these that 22 million people call home. You'll be surprised. The quality and look of manufactured housing has greatly improved. Finally, another perception from the past is that trailer parks, where residents may own their homes but not the land under them, were and still are a risky living situation, depending on who owns the park. However, people living in traditional apartment rental situations face risks as well, including increasing rent and a building owner deciding to sell. In New Hampshire, a law established in 1983 requires park owners to give residents the first right to purchase the land under their homes if a park owner decides to sell the park. This, in part, has led to the rise of ROCs, or resident-owned communities. ROCs greatly enhance the appeal of owning a manufactured home by empowering neighbors to buy their park together. Today, over 150 parks have permanently converted to resident ownership. In a future episode, we'll talk with a couple of folks who live in manufactured housing and go deeper into what manufactured housing is today and why it's not a housing of last resort. Rather, it's a fantastic solution for people of all ages and incomes looking to own an affordable, stable, quality home and meet some friendly new neighbors. Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
Absolutely. If you want to watch episode 4, we can do that. If you'd rather watch it on your own, that's also fine. I have that up and ready to go. It's slightly longer and it focuses on the stories of 2 residents, one in Salem and one in Newmarket. I am curious if folks recognized some of the footage because some of it was taken in your region when we were touring and taking video of manufactured homes.
What's the preference of the group?
I'd skip the video.
Skip the video?
Yeah, we got another piece of business, so.
Yeah, we have other business, but I think everyone knows where it is, Sarah, so that's great.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for letting me hang out in your meeting.
And well, how about a couple questions?
Available for a couple
Sure.
questions there? Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Sarah. Great presentation. I live in Windham and 2 questions. What has the response been throughout the state to the whole idea of manufactured housing? Have you succeeded in breaking the stigma? And also, too, the people that are purchasing the homes, are they within New Hampshire or just moving to another small location, going to be downsizing, things like that?
That's a great question. So I'll start with the second one. I know that we have origin of home buyer data. I don't know if we have it broken down by home type. I will ask our data person and get back to you because I think that's really interesting. It's probably a mix, right? We know that broadly speaking across housing types, about 70% of home buyers in New Hampshire already live in New Hampshire, with the other 30% coming from Massachusetts and elsewhere. But I don't know how that is reflected in manufactured housing specifically. To the first question, we have not busted the stigma yet. I think it's still out there and we still hear it a lot, but we're making a little progress, I hope. We know that we like video and short videos specifically as a format for education, but we're also working on like a 1-page fact sheet on manufactured housing specifically because we think that that's really important too as a different medium and something like you could pass out at your planning board meeting or have available in the town clerk's office or whatever the scenario is.
Yeah, So I'll have to revisit my zoning. I know that when the state changed the definition of manufactured housing, there was discussion in town. I think the stigma still exists, but my girlfriend's daughter couldn't afford a place. And she finally decided that by God, she was gonna get a house, and she got a manufactured house. And from the outside, it looks better than those old trailers. But you walk into that place and it's like, oh, I wanna live here. It's just simply gorgeous. Like the layout, it's this, outside it doesn't look like much. It's not ugly, just doesn't look like much. But inside it's like totally modern. I wanna live there. So I think that the videos are gonna be very helpful if there is still resistance to that old-timey thing, because they're not.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the other things we've done is supported like tours where you get to go and like actually see them and walk through them. Jacob was there and I recently got to tour some sort of model manufactured homes in Salem, and they were beautiful, like really sleek, kind of like one bedroom apartment vibe, like really nice. So yes, I agree that visual is super important.
He's got two uncles that are both carpenters, and there's just no way, even having family help build her a stick-built house, she could have afforded it. But she was able to, she went to several factories that made them with her father, looked at them, they picked the best factory, and within a couple of months, she was living in this real house.
Thanks for sharing. I really love to hear stories like that.
I have a question.
Sorry, yeah.
Is there a difference between modular housing and manufactured housing, like Ted Benson and Unity Homes? Is that still considered manufactured housing? Or I know just down the street from me, they brought in I would call it a manufactured home because it has, a typical peaked roof versus the flat roof look of the manufactured housing. Do they fit in the same category?
They don't. I don't know about Ted Benson and Unity specifically, but the biggest the difference between them, I would say, is the code that they're built to. So manufactured housing being built to that national HUD code, modular housing is built to whatever the local building code is.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions you'd like to broach to Sarah?
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing all that. That was great.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. See you soon. All right, we have one additional item of business that we weren't able to consummate at the executive committee, and that is the replacement of the canopy on this building out front. Sylvia, you wanna?
Yeah,
Or
we were a couple short of a quorum, and their consensus was to go with Concord awning and canvas for a total of $2,440. So we just need a motion to approve that.
What color is it?
Green.
Of course, you didn't have the benefit of seeing the process, but there were bids submitted by a couple of firms, solicited by Loyo and submitted. We evaluated those. The consensus, they were $440 apart from each other. The consensus of the executive committee was to go with the Concord Awnings group. They were offering a different material, more durable 8-year warranty versus a 5-year warranty. Both of them are going to be built or replacing the existing canopy on the existing frame. They're going to remove it, take it to their shop, refresh the frame, recover it, come back, install it.
So moved.
Second. Just
Okay.
a question, is this sort of considered routine maintenance, or was there a particular problem?
It's torn.
It's tattered and torn.
It's so maintenance, and there wasn't a specific event, it's just time to.
Ongoing.
It's time.
And we have a place in the budget to pay for it. Right.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate
Thank you
that.
all. Any other business that needs to come before the commission today? If not, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right, and Peter.
15 minutes early, Barbara.
I checked, Sylvia, you're right, wow, thank
We
you.
could have watched that video. All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
That's